So we're going to identify directly proportional formulas and inversely proportional formulas. We've worked with writing them, now we're going to work with identifying them, which seems like the easier standard. However, it gets pretty darn tricky after a while. Your learning target today, you can identify proportional and inversely proportional relationships given an equation. So remember, direct, that's one of the things you can be. Direct is y equals kx, where k is some kind of constant. Also known as y equals something times x, the constant of variation. Inverse, inversely proportional, instead of timesing by x, it would be y equals k divided by x. Or, the second way, y equals something, some kind of constant, divided by x. X is on the denominator there, on that inverse. Okay? So to identify, we're going to connect this knowledge to Unit 5, where we did algebra and inverse operations to solve. You need to get y alone. Okay? Box that off. That is the heart of today. Get y by itself by doing algebra. Notice y is alone, right? Y equals something times x. Y is all by itself on the left. Notice for inverse. Y is all by itself on the left. Y equals something divided by x. Y is always alone on one side of the equal sign, okay? So we're going to always get y alone. So which equation shows inverse? Here's what I know that inverse is. Y equals something over x. So I want to see which one has x as a denominator when y is by itself. First one, the top one, y is not by itself, so you can't analyze it. So I need to get rid of this 13.77. That's y divided by 13.77. What's the opposite of divide? Multiply by 13.77 to both sides, because algebra is about that balance. Then what I get, the 13.77 cancels out, and I get y equals, put your constant in front of x. That's just proper math etiquette. 13.77x. This is direct, because it's something times x. So it's not that one. Scooting to the second one. Y is by itself, so I don't need to do anything. But maybe you don't like it on the right-hand side, maybe it confuses you. Then just swap them. You could turn this to y equals negative 22.45 over x. X is on the bottom like I wanted it to be. The second one is my inverse. So let me just summarize your main goal here today. Your main goal, y by itself. Okay, once you get y alone, it's either going to look like this, or it's going to look like this. Those are the two things that it's going to be. When you get y alone, it's going to be one or the other. Direct is when you're timesing, inverse is when you're dividing. Okay? Next one. Which equation shows direct? Y equals something times x. I like to just write that down what I want it to look like. That way it keeps my brain clear. Okay, first equation. I have negative 45.13 equals yx. So what is by the y? What's on the same side as the y? X. How do I get rid of that x? Divide, because that's multiply, right? This is y times x. So to get rid of times, I divide by x. And then I have to maintain that balance, because that's what algebra is. So I'm going to do it to both sides of the equal sign. That cancels out the x. And I get y equals negative 45.13 over x. That's inverse. That's not direct. Because the x is on the bottom, right? Which obviously means the last one is direct, but let's just work through the algebra here. I have y divided by 21.6 equals x. I need to move the 21.6 because that's what's by my y. That's divided by. So to get rid of divide, we multiply. Do it to both sides. Remember, constants go before the variable. That's just how we do it in algebra. So that would cancel that out. I get y equals 21.6x, which is that something times x, like I was looking for. So that's second one. Now, some of you might notice a pattern. By all means, go for it. However, you have to be, when we do some practice time here, there is a pattern that some of you are going to catch on to. If you're not 95% accurate with your pattern, you think, you need to do the algebra. Okay? I want you to do the algebra. And when you come up to me, because although this might look easy with me guiding you through this, once you start working independently on it, it gets a little tricky. And you're going to want me to just double check your work, last how or dead. I will do nothing if you don't have algebra. You don't just bring your computer up and say, is this one direct? Because it's one of two, right? It's either direct or inverse. What's that going to do if I say no for you? That doesn't tell you anything.
It helps you.
It helps you get the right answer, but you don't know how you got it. Anywho, that was a great sidebar conversation. Which equation shows inverse? Inverse means y equals something divided by x. So x should be on the bottom. Again, your goal, get x alone first. Okay, that's always your goal. Not x alone, I like to get y alone first. Okay, so top one, I have x equals y over negative 83. I need y alone. So I'm going to get rid of this negative 83 on the bottom by timesing both sides by 83. That cancels that out. And I get y equals negative 83x. That's direct. I'm timesing by x. Timesing by x is direct. Next one. Negative 74 equals xy. What do I need to move? What do I need to move? X, because it's by the y, right? I want y alone. How do I move x? I divide by x because it's multiplied. So divide both sides by x and you get cancels out there. Y equals negative 74 divided by x. That's inverse. Okay? Divide by x is inverse. So let me just summarize your goal, y alone, and then it's either going to look like, it's either going to look like the first one, you're timesing by x, that's direct, or after you get y alone, you're dividing by x, that's inverse. Okay? Use algebra if you don't see the pattern.